You're listening to Turi Writer's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. There are times when sitting on your couch can be a dangerous business, specifically when the ads are scary and the movies are worse. Speaking of emergencies, I flipped on CNN for a moment, and they had this ad. I love ads for emergency stuff that put the stuff in situations that are absolutely never going to happen. And you think, oh, yeah, I need this in case this happens. Apparently, there is some big marketing campaign for an emergency flashing light that goes on your car, sticks with a magnet in case you have to pull over. And this thing, I guess it's the size of a hockey puck, maybe bigger, seems like it would blind pretty much anybody and cause them to run straight into you. It can be kept turned off, whatever, for years, and then it's ready when you need it. And it looks just like police, so no one will crash into your car while you're waiting for help. But here's my favorite. According to this ad, you can run over it with a bus, and it's fine. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, I really want something.
I would be in the bus yard. I would be in the bus yard putting one under each bus tire.
Because you're a journalist.
I'm sure that's true.
That's right. But I would be going,
if it works.
Yeah, you want to go, you want to know if it works. Yeah. So I'm wondering if in their returns department, there's just a huge pile of these things where people want, I ran it over with a bus and it flattened it like a pancake.
Well, does it go on top of your car, in your car? Where do you put it?
According to them, you could wear it as a hat for all they care. You can put it on your trunk. You can put it on the side of your car. It's theoretically.
Don't cars have flashers?
But you should worry because if it's foggy or if it's snowy, the flashers aren't strong enough. And besides, it could wear down your battery. And yeah, I mean, the obvious thing is, just put your flashers on and wait for the tow. But according to this, that's the stupidest thing that you could do. You need to have this because I guess if you need to direct a helicopter in to land, I think I remember a story about 30 years ago where somebody went off the road and in Oregon, rural Oregon, they went on a road that was closed in the winter. Either they didn't see it or they weren't paying attention. And the wife and the kids were okay. But the husband did that old thing they teach you in Scouts, which is go down the hill to look for a stream to follow the water. And he died. So maybe if they'd had one of these things, it all would have been different. But what I wanted to know is who ran this thing over with a bus? And why do I want a thing that can be run over by a bus? What are the odds?
There's no such thing in my world as unbreakable. I can break anything.
So what you're
anytime, anywhere. It's a challenge.
So what you're saying is that you are more powerful than a city bus when it comes to destroying this emergency light.
Yes, I am. Okay. I am.
All right. Now you know I have to buy you one to see if you can destroy it.
And it'll go in the drawer right next to my ShamWows and my copper pans.
You have copper pans?
Oh, my late night. Don't you remember the commercials for like these amazing copper pans? And then I think they turned out to be poisonous or something.
Oh, fantastic.
They disappeared.
I have copper pans that came from Crate and Barrel, but I'm guessing those aren't poisonous.
I would hope not.
Yeah. But these were gifts. People give you stuff, and you're like, whoa, a copper pan. Whoa. And then it's so good you're afraid to use it because in my house, it just means you'll wreck it.
Yeah, see, I've gotten past that now. Everything's wrecked.
Can I tell you the best news about wrecking stuff that I've read lately?
Yeah.
I was given as a Hanukkah gift. He doesn't stop this spousal unit. He hasn't learned his lesson. He gave me a frying pan for Valentine's Day a few decades ago. He's never lived it down. Now he gives me a frying pan for Hanukkah. And I'm like, a frying pan? Really? That's what I get?
That's what you think.
Again? You didn't learn the first time? But he said, you're recycling the old ones because they aren't nonstick anymore. So the first thing you do is you check to see if these really are decent pans or if they'll poison you. And I was so grateful to hear, even though it's completely wasteful and bad for the universe, I felt so much better reading a good nonstick pan only lasts 5 or 6 years. And I'm thinking, why didn't anybody tell me that? All these years I've been like, what is wrong with this pan? And it's just expired, like your parking meters.
I did not know they expire.
Yeah, I feel good knowing that anytime after 5 years that I destroy it, it was meant to be. It was written in the stars.
There you go.
This frying pan is not meant for the universe. It is meant for the metal recycling guys who come down the alley. And now I'm going to tell you why I was turning on the TV in the first place.
Okay.
It is Screen Actors Guild voting season.
Oh, so were you watching movies?
Yes, I've been watching movies. And it seems like no movie that has been submitted for, as they call it, for your consideration, The only criteria seems to be that the movie be about 5 hours long. That seems to be how everybody's getting nominated now, is that you have to have made a movie, whether it's good or not, it has to be at least 5 hours long so that people can dedicate. I was going to have date night with the spousal unit, and by the time I got through watching last night's movie, I just looked at him and went, I am not interested in date night. This is the worst. So first, okay, I've seen several of these that are good. I can report that Killers of the Flower Moon is well worth watching. And it was a sad and disturbing story, but it was beautifully told. And I would love to say that Martin Scorsese never puts a foot wrong, but that's not true. But he seems to have done it very well this time. So good for him. And then I watched, I don't know what I was thinking, the Barbie movie.
I liked the Barbie movie.
How high were you?
I'm not telling.
How many gummies had you had the day? Because the psychedelic, the Barbie pink and
It's very bright.
yeah, it's extremely bright. I'm thinking maybe it was a couple of gummies because basically it has one joke, one point to prove. One joke and one point to prove. And other than that, it's entirely a stupid waste of my 5 hours.
I like that.
Well, you can have it. But it didn't ruin my life the way that watching Maestro did. What?
I heard that was really bad.
What a horrible piece. All right, let me not just call it names. Let me tell you what is wrong with this movie. First of all, it's got very little to do with the fake nose Leonard Bernstein character. It's all about watching his wife lose her mind. And I think we've had a lot of movies about women losing their minds. And the other thing about watching her lose her mind is that it's her own darn fault. It's like all these women who marry rock stars and think that somehow, like how many wives has Rod Stewart been through? Like 8, 9, 12? Why would anybody marry Rod Stewart? I mean, you basically know that you've got about as much time with Rod Stewart if you marry him as your car has before it gets stolen if you leave it downtown with your keys in and the motor running.
And they all have prenups too, so
maximum 2 hours.
You don't get any money.
That's all you get. Yeah, your only hope of getting any money out of Rod Stewart is to just ransack the house and try and find some jewelry that the previous wife left behind.
Or one of his toupees. Put it on eBay.
Does he wear toupees? Does he?
Looks like he does.
I'm so disappointed.
Does, yeah.
Some guys keep their hair just because mine didn't. I still have faith that there are men in this world with full heads. In the movie, in addition to a fake nose, Bradley Cooper has a full head of graying hair. So this woman marries Leonard Bernstein knowing that he fucks everything that moves, male or female, and somehow I'm going to pretend that I don't care. And then she's alternately bereft and vicious. And then at the end, there's a deathbed scene. I swear to you, a deathbed scene where she's going, all that matters is kindness, kindness, kindness. And I'm thinking, really? You actually told your husband that he's going to end up a lonely old queen. And now you're telling everybody that kindness is what matters?
Was Sondheim in it?
Get your story straight. He's mentioned there are a lot of people who show up there that you get the feeling you're supposed to know who they are, but you don't. I felt really good about recognizing the characters of Comden and Green, but it's like purposely you're purposely, you have to spend your time looking up famous people who knew Leonard Bernstein, and that's annoying too. Like you're supposed to know these people.
I don't watch movies to be educated.
It's like the freaking Wikipedia entry for Leonard Bernstein. And then to make matters even worse, there's all his music in there for no apparent reason.
Uh, that's a lot of music.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
and they stick the music under everything, and then somehow they seem to have gotten confused between the movie they were making and The Wizard of Oz. So half of it's in black and white, and then they magically, we're out of the woods, we're out of the dark, in color, and you're just kind of like, what happened? Why are you doing this? The only redeeming scene, you know how sometimes you watch the worst movie in the world and there's one good scene?
We watched the worst movie in the world this morning,
Well,
and there wasn't a single good scene.
sometimes. So I'll just flag this for you in case you're ever stuck on an airplane and you have to watch this movie because it's either that or play with your oxygen mask, which has accidentally dropped down in front of you. If those are your only two choices of entertainment, I guess you would go with Maestro. And here's the only good scene. Apparently, he lives on Central Park West, which is where the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is held. And so there's one scene where they are watching the floats go by their window, literally outside their window, which is kind of a thing that everybody would have always wanted. Like if you had a childhood fantasy, you'd either want to be on the float with Captain Kangaroo or you'd want to be in a building where you could actually have the floats go by right outside your window. And that was clever. But other than that, and it wasn't even that clever because he based it on the biography that the kids wrote. And the kids, of course, as you know, are very reliable narrators of their parents' lives. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, tell me about it. Unfortunately, my kids are a little bit too dramatic. We don't exaggerate anything. We're just theater people.
Mm-hmm. You come by it honestly.
Yep.
So that's the movie I got stuck in. It ruined date night. It almost ruined my day today. I had to.
Our running joke here is there's a movie that I'm sure you haven't seen because it's a superhero movie.
Yeah, I haven't
And it's
seen it.
called Black Adam. And it's The Rock.
Uh-huh.
And it's like and I love The Rock. I love The Rock to the end of the world.
But
this was the worst movie. And Eve and Frankie and I all watched it together. And then we kept watching it to see if it could get any worse. And of course it did. So for like however long it's been out, a couple years, our big joke is, well, let's watch, Black Adam. There's nothing on. Let's go find Black Adam. And this morning, because it was storming and Frankie couldn't get to work because the highways are all closed around here, we decided we would watch a movie we've never watched before, kind of a close your eyes and pick one. And we wound up with another superhero movie called The Marvels. It has totally surpassed Black Adam on our lowest scale of scales. Like, I can't even joke about it. That's how bad it was.
Really? Because there's such a thing as having it be so bad it's good.
I love those movies.
Yeah.
I have a whole list of those and I watch them.
Maybe I'll have washed the taste of Maestro out of my mouth by the time I have to vote. Horrible. They had a big scene where Bradley Cooper conducts this orchestra in a church, and I think they made us listen to the entire Leonard Bernstein's version of Mahler, or whatever it is he conducts at that point. And it just went on and on. I mean, everything he conducted, you had to hear it. It was like reliving your whole childhood of children's concert, except they were for, I don't know who they were for. They weren't for children and they weren't for grown-ups. They were for Bradley Cooper. That's who they were for.
I don't know why Hollywood hasn't gotten the message that movies like that are why we watch them at home so we could just get up.
I was so hoping I could just get up and I was like, the spousal unit's on the couch. If he's not getting up, I'm not getting up. It became a contest of wills. I really just wanted to run it over with a bus is what I wanted to do. Thanks for listening to the Tory Writers She Said What podcast. Since you've made it to the end, you might want to know that my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air, is not only available in print, but now also in complete audiobook form, narrated by me and available on Audible.